If there is one lesson every Formula One reporter learns after decades inside this traveling circus, it is this: dynasties never end cleanly. They fade, fracture, reorganize, resist, and sometimes spectacularly resurrect themselves. Red Bull's empire, which once looked unbreakable under the Verstappen-Newey-Horner axis, now enters 2026 facing the biggest identity test the organization has ever confronted. This sport is about to undergo the largest technical regulation shift since the hybrid revolution of 2014, a shift in aerodynamics, energy deployment, power unit philosophy, and chassis optimization. And for the first time in over a decade, the question is not, how dominant will Red Bull be? But rather, can Red Bull even survive this transition at the top? To understand what to expect from Red Bull in 2026, we must examine three parallel forces shaping the team's future: the technical reset, the political storm, and the cultural reshaping of an outfit that had grown accustomed to winning, often effortlessly. Let us begin with the most crucial element: the 2026 technical regulations. These new rules fundamentally reshape the architecture of the modern Formula One car. The ground effect philosophy remains, but with major aerodynamic simplifications. Drag is reduced, active aero enters the sport. Power unit constraints shift dramatically toward electric deployment. The internal combustion engine plays a reduced role. The energy recovery systems, the heart of modern F1, become more complex and strategically essential. Why does this matter? Because Red Bull's dominance from 2022 to 2023 was built on aerodynamic mastery. Adrian Newey's genius in shaping airflow under ground effect rules carved out performance advantages other teams could not match. But 2026 strips away much of the design freedom that allowed Red Bull to innovate so aggressively. The car becomes less about sculpting airflow with artistic freedom and more about engineering a tightly regulated, efficiency-driven platform. With Newey's departure looming over the team like a historical full stop, the question is whether Red Bull's new technical leadership can replicate the visionary innovation that became the DNA of the RB18, RB19, and RB20. Pierre Wache is brilliant, make no mistake, but he is inheriting a landscape far more constrained, far more electrified, and far more unforgiving of aerodynamic missteps. Expect Red Bull to remain sharp, but not invincible. Their advantage evaporates with the loss of conceptual freedom. The second pillar, shaping 2026, is the Honda to Red Bull powertrain shift. For years, Honda quietly delivered one of the best engines in the sport. It was stable, efficient, thermally robust, and perfectly matched to Verstappen's aggressive driving style. But 2026 introduces a brand new power unit, developed entirely in-house at Red Bull Powertrains, with Ford branding, but Ford's technical influence far more limited than the marketing suggests. The truth within the paddock, whispered in hospitality suites and engineering offices, is that Red Bull are facing the exact challenge that doomed McLaren Honda in 2015 and Renault in the turbo hybrid early years: integration. Building a competitive engine is hard. Building one from scratch under time pressure is nearly impossible. Red Bull has hired aggressively, poaching talent from Mercedes and Ferrari, But a power unit is not merely a collection of brilliant engineers. It is chemistry, intuition, rhythm, a synergy only found through years of testing, failing, refining, and perfecting. Expect reliability issues. Expect inconsistent deployment. Expect a steep learning curve, not because Red Bull is incompetent, but because no team in modern hybrid F1 has successfully built a title-winning engine on its very first attempt. In 2026, Red Bull will face a humbling reality. They are no longer the aerodynamic geniuses supported by Honda. They are a rookie engine manufacturer competing against Ferrari, Mercedes, and Audi. Companies with half a century of powertrain culture baked into their DNA. The third force shaping Red Bull in 2026 is the political and cultural reshaping of the team. The Christian Horner controversy fractured the organization in ways the public still doesn't fully understand. Power struggles erupted between the British operational side and the Thai ownership side. Newey's departure was not merely a career move, it was a symbolic turning point. Verstappen, for the first time in years, began publicly questioning the future alignment of the team. Key engineers considered offers from rivals. Red Bull became a team divided not by performance, but by identity. 2026 will test whether Red Bull can rebuild a unified culture. Success requires more than a fast car. It requires internal cohesion. Mercedes dominated the hybrid era because the entire organization moved like one organism. Red Bull until recently behaved the same way. But 2026 asks, can Red Bull rediscover that unity? Or will internal fractures undermine their technical development? Do not underestimate this element. Formula One titles are won not only with genius, but with alignment. Political sabotage, internal mistrust, or conflicting visions can destroy years of engineering progress. If Red Bull cannot stabilize its leadership, its technical structure, and its long-term identity, expect inconsistency across the season. But this is Red Bull, a team that has, time and again, defied expectations. They reinvented themselves after Vettel. They rebuilt after losing Renault support. They powered Verstappen to one of the most dominant streaks in F1 history. They are ruthless, aggressive, adaptive. So what does that mean for 2026? Expect Red Bull to remain competitive, but not dominant. Expect them to win races, but not dictate seasons. Expect them to deliver brilliance in certain circuits, but struggle against teams with more mature power units than others. Expect Verstappen to salvage performance beyond the car's true pace, but not enough to walk to a title. Expect Red Bull to look more human, more vulnerable, more like a team in transition than a dynasty. The fight in 2026 will not be between Red Bull and the rest. It will be a four-way battle. McLaren with momentum, Mercedes with recovery, Ferrari with desperation, and Audi with manufacturer firepower. Red Bull will be part of the fight, but no longer the center of gravity. The empire isn't dead, but the aura of inevitability is gone. 2026 will be the first true test of Red Bull's ability to win without Adrian Newey, without Honda, and without structural stability. And that, for the first time in many years, makes the Formula One season genuinely unpredictable. Red Bull may rise again. They may even shock the world. But for now, expect turbulence, not dominance.